I'm really excited to bring you this new series with Adam Rogerson. He is the pianist at our church here in the Carolinas, and I had the privilege of spending about an hour, hour and a half with him, and he just played things and explained things, and I had a couple of light bulb moments where things just clicked that I can't wait to share with you. So that's what we're going to dive into with this new video series with Adam Rogerson. Adam did request that I not use his voice on the video, so I'll be explaining to you the things that he explained to me. Let's get started. We're going to start by watching him play When I See the Blood, and I'm going to give you some general observations, and then we're going to come back and let him explain some of the things that he does. And then later on in another video, we'll come back and unpack some of the things that he does that he doesn't talk about. Now, as Adam was playing these runs in the chorus especially, they just look so effortless. But there's a lot that goes into those, so let's break that down a little bit. He did talk about them a bit and explain some things to me, and some of the things were like light bulb moments. Because my playing, I tend to put myself in a box, and I have to think very methodically because improvising doesn't come naturally to me. It's a skill that I've had to learn little piece by little piece. And so some of the things he said were just things that I've never really had put into words before. So we're looking at the chorus here on When I See the Blood. And one of the first things he mentioned that just kind of was counterintuitive to me was that your run doesn't have to go from this note right here to the very next note. There's no reason that the run has to go between neighbor notes. So in my past thinking, I was always looking for somewhere that had two beats of the same note, whether that's 2 quarter notes or half note. And then I would see, oh, there's a chance to put a run in, and I would make the run go from that half note to whatever the next note was. And you can find my videos on how to go between seconds, thirds, fourths, all that kind of stuff. But Adam was explaining that he doesn't always do them between neighbor notes. He will look at the music and look ahead. For instance, in this When I See the Blood right here, where he's going from the chorus When I See the Blood to the next When I See the Blood. And he's looking ahead 2 measures into the 3rd measure, and he wants to end his run there. So he's looking ahead and saying, okay, where am I going to start my run? I'm going to start it back on the 1st blood. And so he's not always looking to go to the next note. He's looking ahead and saying, oh, I could build a run and end right there, which also means that you're not just looking for a half note or 2 beats of the same note. He's in this particular song, it's a dotted half note, which is 3 beats followed by 2 eighth notes. So you can just run right through those eighth notes sometimes and go into the next measure, which in this case gives you 4 beats to do that run on. So when you see a dotted half note and you're thinking, oh, 3 beats to do an 8-note run, you got to play with some things there. But you can just turn it into 4 beats and go into the 1st note of the next measure. Now with that in mind, a run can go up the piano no matter where your next note is. If your next note is a 4th lower, for instance, if you're going from a C down to a G, you can simply make that run go from a C up to the next G. That will get your hands into the next register, next octave as well. And so it's an easy way to transition up and down the keyboard. If you're going down a 6th, you can go up a 3rd. If you're going down a 7th, you can go up a 2nd. You can flip-flop the direction that the notes run in order to make your run go up the piano. So just experiment with that and play around a little bit. Another thing that you can do, for instance, right here, When I See the Blood, you can see the 1st blood. Adam actually ran a run from that blood to the next measure where it says I. He went from the C to the B going up. And then he continued his run from that B on I up to the next G on the next word, blood. Blood. Now that's not just a straight all the way up the piano situation. He did a little bit of going up and down with that. He combined those two runs in the chorus. When I see the blood, when I was the first run, then from that I to see the blood was the second half. So he combined those two runs and made it seem like one effortless run. But he hit a key melody note in the middle by doing that. You don't want to completely lose your melody when you're doing your runs for congregational work especially. So that's a nice way to be able to get the run in, still hit some key melody notes. Now, one major concept that I have a hard time incorporating, because again, I put myself into a box and things have to fit just right. But they don't have to fit just right. And this was a perfect example. Adam played it here in when he was teaching me. There are some ways that you can adjust the scale to make it fit. The first one is just to, okay, I've gotten to my note that I need and I've still got some time left. So you just repeat the note. Another thing that you can do is to repeat a note in the middle of the run. Sometimes if you repeat the note in the middle, it not only helps you fit the run in, but it also helps you get the melody in there too. So we have in the chorus, when I see the blood, when I see the blood, and that's where our run's going to go right there. So we have that see the blood, when and I. Okay, see that? It works real well in that situation there. So you can repeat the last note, you can repeat a note in the middle. You can also change directions for a note or two in the middle of the run, at the beginning of the run, at the end of the run. If you're going to be going up from a C to a B, perhaps you want to go, or maybe you want to go up and come back down. Either one of those works. You could change note in the middle, go the opposite direction in the middle. All of those options are there. Go the opposite direction in the beginning, go the opposite direction at the end, go down the opposite direction in the middle of the run as well. So you've got that option. Another option that you have is to add some chromatic tones. Real quick definition, chromatic means every key. Okay, so you're not going to skip any of the keys. So that that last blood into I will pass, you could do when I see the blood, I will pass. You could just put that little F sharp in there at the end. We also right there changed the rhythm of the run. We slowed down a little. What if you're trying to go from a C to a G and you don't have enough beats? You could do something like that. You can also skip a tone or two. Just pick a few to skip in there. If you're running out of time and you've got to get to that note, you can always jump to it. It's not quite of a pretty run, but when you run out of time, you can just give up on the run and land on your note. You have that option. Just a real quick, one more thing that he talked about a little bit, and I noticed is that if he's playing and he's just going to do a little tiny run in the right hand, is usually a one-note run. Four. To me, that's awful. However, if you're doing bigger runs, 8-note runs, they lend themselves to octaves really well. And then Adam said he almost always puts a full 4-note chord at the end, or sometimes even a 5-note chord at the end. So that was a lot of things about doing runs and incorporating them into your improvising. And I hope you'll take the time to practice some of these and plan ahead in your songs and start to see where you can put runs in, where you can put double runs in, and those types of things. And this is Sandy at Play for Ministry. I'll be talking to you later. Bye-bye.